Welcome back everyone, John Pano here with another video. We have some exciting news that just dropped from Twitter on Limbus Company. We finally have the kits for Faust and Heathcliff for their Corp variant. In this video we're going to be going over their kits as well as the synergies that we will have going into the future with Elder 2 Corp unit with Rodion as well as Mersault. So without further ado, let's just dive right into it. We're going to take a look at Heathcliff's kit first. He is a 2-star unit, and his kit is interesting. His first skill is Gawky Nailing, second skill is Period ... 5, third skill Infirm Retribution. He's got a normal guard, his passive is Bugger, and his support passive is Cantillation. So, Gawky Nailing, his first skill. It's going to be a 2 coin flip Pierce skill, Envy. It has on heads hit inflict nails next turn, and on tails hit inflict bleed. His second hit will on hit inflict bleed. So this is going to be very good in bleed comps since it's going to inflict bleed as well as nail, but the only issue is his skill 2 and skill 3 and his passives don't really inflict bleed except for his Cantillation, and we'll dive into this a little bit further. So overall, I can really only see Heathcliff as being a unit that you would really only want to use in either a Corp squad or a bleed build, only if you don't have any other unit except for Heathcliff to be able to round out your bleed build. Because when you look at it, his skill 2 and his skill 3 don't apply bleed or nails at all. His second skill, Purify, is a 1 coin flip blunt attack, Clash Win, heal SP, which is sanity points. On heads hit, inflict plus coin drop next turn. This, I don't know what this really means. It's confusing, so if you guys know what this means, let me know. But from what I can extrapolate from how I've played this game before and what the game has given me, plus coin drop is either the enemy, their next turn, the flips of their coin is going to be lower, akin to Paralyze, drops it to 0. But that doesn't make a lot of sense because then you should just be saying inflict paralyze next turn. So plus coin drop is new to me. I don't know exactly how this is gonna work, but based off of what I'm reading here, it should either be the enemies when they flip their coin would be negative, I'm assuming, or very akin to paralyze, or all their coin flips that turn is gonna be lowered. Hard to say. Hopefully it works as the latter and not like Paralyze, since Paralyze by the end of the turn it disappears completely. So hopefully this works as Paralyze but better. Infirm Retribution is 3 coin flips, and it's got 3 hits to it, and it says on heads hit deal bonus damage based on damage dealt. So this is interesting because usually when you flip your coins, you're not doing damage, you're just clashing with the enemy, and only after you win your clash will you inflict damage based off of that. So what it seems like is obviously once you win your clash, the more heads you hit, the more damage you're gonna get. This is very akin to his base form's third skill, Upheaval, whereas his Upheaval does Tremor Burst. This skill looks like it's just going to do a ton of damage. From what it seems like, this version of Heathcliff is a bit more well-rounded in the sense that his base form is all blunt skills. This one at least has a pierce skill, which gives you that versatility. He looks like he's going to be a solid standalone unit that you can throw into any team. Obviously, you'll want to throw him into a Corp squad, but overall, his kit's looking pretty decent. It's well-rounded. Doesn't do anything too special outside of the fact that he can do a ton of damage. With his third skill, he can inflict nail and bleed with his first skill, and we'll have to see what his second skill does. His passives are nothing to really write home about. Bugger, when an ally is defeated, lose SP and gain blunt power up next turn. Super conditional. 1, you need to activate this passive, and 2, it's when an ally is defeated, so depending on the wording, it's either that ally needs to die that turn, or it just has to be a dead ally on your team. So very conditional if it's the way I'm thinking it is, and blunt power out, not that great. Rarely do you want to have a dead unit on your team, so this is more often than not useless. His Cantillation though is pretty useful in a full N-Corp team if he is benched. The ally with the highest speed inflicts additional nails. This could honestly be pretty useful if Cantillation is a 2 affinity resource. If this Cantillation requires 3 or even 4 resources to get its passive up, it would feel really bad. If it was only 2, I would see it being used more and being very useful, but if it's anywhere where you need 3 or 4 affinities to be able to use your passive, it's not going to be that good. Hopefully it's only 2, but 3 or 4, it's just going to be too much, very conditional. So depending on how the numbers work, Heathcliff looking like he is a strong standalone unit with some synergies with bleed and nail, but outside of that, he doesn't really have a special kit. But the one who grips, Faust. Now this is an interesting one. Faust is a 3-star unit, and her skills are Cackle, the Gripping, Execution. She's got a fun defense skill called Such Filth, Whistles for passive, and Whispers for support passive. So let's go over each and every one of these. Her Cackle is going to be 2 coins, Envy. It's going to be a Pierce skill on clash when the target loses SP, and on hit inflict nails, and on hit 2, or the second hit, will inflict bleed. Very useful for a skill. It's going to inflict nails and bleed, which is going to be useful for any N-Corp hammered unit. Synergizes very well, and you can work her into a bleed build. The reason why is her second skill and third skill inflict nails and nails. Faust is going to be your staple for either your N-Corp hammer build or your bleed build. She will fit into your bleed build regardless. Nails and bleeds in all her skills are going to make it so that you're going to have a full bleed team. I can see her being very strong in bleed and as well as very strong in N-Corp hammer groups. Now, her second skill is the Gripping, 3 coin flips, Pierce, very nice, Lust. On hit inflict nails, and her second hit on hit inflict nails. I don't know if this is second or third, but who knows, we'll see. Maybe they mistypoed it and they were supposed to be 1 and 2, but we'll see. So if this is second and third hit, which will be 3 hits, it will be heads hit inflict paralyzed next turn, which is so much better. Inflicting paralyzed next turn is great. It means that way the enemies, at least this way, paralyzed will be useful next turn. On hit inflict gaze next turn. Now gaze is an interesting mechanic. Gaze is not the same as the Cromer boss fight, because Gaze essentially made it so that if Cromer attacks a Gaze unit, she does an extra 100% damage, which was crazy. In this case, Gaze is affected units take more damage from Pierce and Blunt skills. For 1 turn, the ally that defeats the marked unit heals Sanity. If the ally is from N-Corp, they also gain Fanatic next turn. Fanatic is raises skill final power by the effects count against units with nails. So essentially, if the unit is gazed, Blunt and Pierce do extra damage, but if they have Gaze and if an N-Corp ally defeats that unit, they'll gain Fanatic, which is just essentially a buff. So very nice second skill. Third skill looks like it's going to be very fun, but conditional. So our third skill is Execution. On kill, heal all allies for SP and apply Pierce damage up and Blunt damage up. All the N-Corp units are Pierce and Blunt damage, so this is very good if you can get a kill with this skill. She'll apply Pierce damage up and Blunt damage up, but the question is, does it last the turn that you use it, or does the buff apply next turn? If this only applies the turn you use it, then that just only means that Faust has to act first and kill something for your whole team to get the benefit of it. If not, and she's acting last, then this is going to not be that useful, because she'll apply it and then no units can act after her, and that's it. Her first hit, on hit, inflict nails, nice. Second hit, heads hit, inflict nails, lovely. And third hit deals extra damage if the target has X or more nails. So this one's going to be interesting. We'll see how many nails the target's going to need to be able to do more damage to it. Overall, really liking her kit so far. She is indeed a bleed character through and through, nails and bleed. Her Such Filth defense skill is on evade, target loses SP, which is okay, nothing to write home about. Whistles is at the start of the combat phase, heal allies with the lowest SP for SP. If the ally is from N-Corp, also apply Fanatic. So this one's interesting because it says at the start of the combat phase, heal allies with the lowest SP for SP. this sounds a little bit weird. I don't know if they're saying the lowest ally will heal SP at the start of the combat phase, or if it's saying that SP is going to transfer from Faust or from somewhere to a unit with the lowest SP, so it acts as osmosis, if you will. So a little bit weird on the wording, but essentially it's saying the lowest unit, or the unit with the lowest SP, is going to gain SP, whether or not it's just going to gain a flat amount, or whether or not it's just SP being transferred from another unit over. We'll have to wait and see, but this one should ideally be a 2 resource passive. I don't expect it being 3 because it's pretty conditional, but it could be 3 if it's a flat amount, so we'll see. Whispers is the same as whistles essentially. At the start of the combat phase, heal the ally with the lowest SP for SP. If the ally is an Corp unit, also apply Fanatic. So overall, whistles and whispers do the same thing. Fanatic, being able to apply Fanatic on an Corp unit is very good. At least when the enemies have Fanatic, 2 to 3 stacks of it, they do tons of damage to you. So hopefully, if you can build a Fanatic nailed team for Faust, you'll be able to do big damage, but I haven't tested this, so I'm looking forward to trying her on a full Corp team and seeing what she can provide, honestly. So, theory crafting, team building. Now, as you can see, with these 2 characters, the whole gimmick, realistically, is Nails and Fanatic. So, let's take a look into team building and potential synergies with the other Corp units and also bleed units. So, we have Rodion, Corp Hammer. Her first skill inflicts bleed, which is great. Her second skill can inflict nails, which is useful. And her third skill can inflict bleed. Not bad. Her passives go off of Wrath, which is pretty nice. After an enemy is defeated, gain 1 haste and 1 damage up. Not that useful, doesn't inflict nail. Her support doesn't really inflict nail, so realistically her synergy with her kit is that she can inflict bleed and nail consistently, which is not bad. With Corp Grobhammer, or yeah, Grobhammer. This is German, don't remember if this is an S or an H, gotta remember. But with this version of Mersault, his first skill doesn't really apply nail or bleed, so it's pretty meh. But his second skill inflicts 3 nails, which is pretty huge, and his third skill can inflict 2 nails. His passive doesn't really apply nails, so it's kind of a big whatever. So overall, the synergy is pretty nail dependent. The biggest point of Corp is obviously with our girl Faust over here. Being able to have Gaze and apply Fanatic is going to be the main gimmick of Corp. Corp is solely focused on applying nail to enemy, having your bleed count go up, and maintaining those bleed count. I will say, however, it's not going to be that great in human battle because human battles are completely random basically. So you're not going to be able to maintain nail count on a unit, but if you're fighting a boss, you'll be able to stack up nails on the boss, so it'll be much easier. So I can see Corp being really good for boss battles. With that being said though, in the current state, Corp squad of 4 units is looking kind of weak, if I had to be honest. There is synergy with the nail and Fanatic, but with how the units work right now, it is feeling like it is going to be a little bit lacking. I honestly believe that right now bleed by itself is just better solo bolo. Honestly, if you were going to be running Faust, I honestly think that she would be much better paired off with your traditional bleed units, such as your 2-star Honglu and also your 3-star Ryoshu. That to me just makes the most sense right now. Just having a normal bleed comp feels like it makes the most sense. In terms of bleed right now, what I see as being a pretty effective bleed team would be 3-star Ryoshu, 4-star, 2-star Honglu, and then for your third unit would be 3-star Faust. Your fourth unit would be 2-star Rodion. You could use technically 3-star Rodion too, but I recommend 2-star Rodion because the bleed's always consistent. And your fifth unit can be either R Rabbit Heathcliff because his second skill applies bleed, or if you really wanted to, you could technically use 3-star Blade Lineage Sinclair, or you could just use Assault 3-star version of this variant of Corp hammer, and that in itself would essentially be your bleed team. I don't know how strong that would be. In my mind, it feels like it would be pretty good to have a team comp like that, but overall the Corp right now feels a little bit on the weaker side, at least for human battles. When it comes to abnormality battle, I'm sure it'll be really strong, since you'll be able to apply nails on just one unit versus 5 human units. I'm looking at you, chapter 3. But overall, the units are looking pretty solid. The synergies, like most other synergies right now, are kind of a little bit lacking. Obviously, this type of team building, Corp, Nail Fanatic lead, or Nail Fanatic build, is only going to be useful in content where it's going to be abnormality battle with one boss with multiple body parts, since if it's going to be multiple units, being able to apply nail consistently on multiple units, maintaining nail stacks on those units to then be able to gain access to Fnatic is looking like it's pretty hard. Overall though, I'm really liking the kit so far. With more egos coming out, with more characters coming out, hopefully we'll be able to have teams feel a little bit more consistent. I personally feel like, at least right now, if the game was made so that all battles were abnormality battles, or acted like abnormality battles, then I could potentially have my team solo down a unit and apply a ton of bleed, get a ton of Fnatic, and build off of that. But as the game stands right now, the Corp units really only are beneficial in abnormality battles, and you're better off just running a traditional bleed team at this moment, since right now bleed is very, very strong. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'm really looking forward to the new units already be coming out. I'll definitely be pulling for them. Hopefully I get it first try and I don't have to spend a ton of money on it. Oh Lord, please. And yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Are you looking forward to these units? Are you guys gonna be pulling out of these units? Are you gonna be skipping for this banner? Let me know down in the comment section down below. As usual, I stream Monday to Friday on Twitch. I have a Discord community, so make sure you join that, as it's growing pretty big, growing fast, and I post almost every day, or at least Monday to Friday, on YouTube. John Panio signing out. I'll see you guys later. Bye for now.